Cruelty to animals. Police in Vermont are investigating a case they say goes far beyond neglect. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Lydia Colbita.
And I'm John Gray. 17 pit bulls were found at 2 properties in Vermont. Their condition so bad, Bennington Police Chief calling it the worst case of animal cruelty he's ever seen.
Police say more than half the dogs had to be put down, some injured, some just too vicious to be around people. As for their former owner, he's now locked up without bail as police investigate whether he was using the dogs to fight.
Houston ABC's Anya Tucker live outside where some of these pit bulls were found with more on the story. Anya.
Well, John, Lydia, this is the home where police tell me they believe Derek Jensen and his family lived, as well as their 17 pit bulls. Now, the family and the dogs have all been removed from the home, but what was left remaining is a bit troubling, police say. Check down here. Heavy chains and spikes. Neighbors telling me that Jensen actually used these to help train his pit bulls. And then look up here in this tree. A heavy chain hanging, and then right below it, a leash.
We have investigated a fair share of animal cruelty cases, but I have honestly not ever seen dogs in the condition that these dogs were in.
17 pit bulls, the victims, police say, of something that went way beyond neglect.
The dogs were dehydrated, they were emaciated, bite marks, there were lacerations. One of the dogs was actually missing I believe 2 digits.
Chief Paul Doucette says out of 17 animals, 9 had to be put down almost immediately, that some were near death and others, sadly, were determined to be too vicious to be around human beings. Their former owner, police say, is Derek Jensen, who was already on probation after pleading guilty to child abuse. He's now locked up without bail on charges of animal cruelty and aggravated animal cruelty. Police say they already had several complaints regarding Jensen and his dogs at his rental home at 1820 East Road. But it was really when Jensen was being evicted with the help of sheriff's deputies that police began to realize the full scope of what they say was going on. They say before they could even rescue the dogs, Jensen had allegedly transported the ones in worse shape to a family member's home a few miles away on Colville Road.
You know, some of these dogs we removed from the back of a Jeep Cherokee. They were living inside of a vehicle.
Doucette says his investigators are now trying to determine how the dogs were injured.
Could it be from fighting? Could it be that the dogs were too close together? I honestly don't know.
Well, I'm standing in the backyard of the home, the landlord letting us in earlier today to get a look. You can just see, she says, how the dogs kind of trashed the backyard. This is where the dogs were actually housed in some of these makeshift kennels right here. As for Jensen, he pleaded not guilty in court last week. We did try to reach out to him as well as his attorney, but as of this time, we have not yet heard back from them or from Jensen, who is locked up in the county jail. Now, as for the remaining surviving dogs, there is some good news. Chief Doucette tells me that they're actually doing very well, all things considered. And those 4 puppies that you saw in the piece, well, I'm told that they are with the organization Out of the Pits, a group that works specifically to rescue pit bulls. Live in Bennington, Anya Tucker, News 10, ABC.